My name's Mark Evans, Mark Evans Band. I spent a long time as a solo artist, and I guess when I came back to the Philly area and really locked into playing with Roy Fisher and Jeff Pancoast and Pat Robinson, I decided that it was time to make it a band again. And, I grew up right on the border of Camden in Pennsauken, right off of 36th Street. I'd say at that time, I grew up in the 60s, so I was caught up in the Beatles, and I was caught up in the Monkees because, my sister was just 4 years older, and she already had the Beatles when I became musically aware, so they were still hers, but the Monkees were mine, so if that makes any sense. Essentially they were all actors replying to an audition, but Mike was already a published songwriter. He had written a different drum that Linda Ronstadt recorded. Davey was a great little showman, and Mickey's voice. And we had one of the coolest things that's happened is the last thing we did as a band before COVID shut down is we opened up for Mickey Dolenz, a couple of shows at the Sellersville Theater. And he when he tells his stories of where that show took them, to sitting around with the Beatles in the studio, and it's very cool. It's funny and a great voice, just such a great voice. And I remember we all went when we were, I guess maybe in 5th grade, or when they came out, or 4th grade, 5th grade, I think. We all wanted to be them. That was our thing. We wanted to be the Monkees. So, and from there, music was, it was just always everything. I wanted to play. I had a guitar at age 8. I couldn't practice. I didn't get it, I couldn't read music. I'd go to lessons, and there was never any progression. But I guess when I was around 12, I figured out that I was hearing things in my head that I could get from my head onto what little guitar I understood, and I started writing that, which didn't come in handy until my 20s. But because I couldn't play on a level to get past an audition to get into a cover band. But then I guess my first original band was in the Philly area, 82, maybe 82. And at the time there was so many venues. There was Phillies, there was Ripley's, there was Dobbs was still there. There was a place called Bojangles, and Rendell's Lair, in Trenton City Gardens, I think it was called. There was so much, and you could get out and play in front of people, and they came. And when the club started closing here, I moved to New York, and then I don't even know what I was doing there because I didn't play for years. But you led me to a whole room, all access blocked. I could hear the quiet singing, baby, but the doors were locked. Body inside, body inside, body inside. Can't sacrifice yourself, but I don't wanna know. I was always writing. I took a period. There was a period where I decided that I was a mailman. I had been a mailman for 19 years, and I hated my job. I mean, I liked the interaction with the people, but the job itself was not going anywhere. And I actually got sober. I was a real mess at that point in my life, and I got sober in the 90s right after my father passed, and realized I could no longer do that job. That I was not going to stay sober if I kept doing that job.
and I quit and just landed on a film set as an extra due to a friend the next day, and then that started the next career. I was acting for a number of years. Got as far as off Broadway. I did did a lot of off Broadway. I did a bunch of independent films, a couple of TV commercials, and it was cool, but it didn't scare me. Music scared the life out of me. Music was everything, and I believed that I'd been a failure in music. So I'm in the middle of, I was actually working on a film, and my friend Amanda Kravitz, who was signed to Sony 550 at the time, was doing she was an amazing artist. The band was called Marry Me Jane. And she was doing the soundtrack for an Eric Schaefer film called Never Again. And we had dabbled in some writing along the way. And I was always terrified of writing with her because she was so good. I was like, oh my God, nothing, she must be just doing this out of pity for me. But she called and she said, there's a song we were working on, and I'd really like to see if we could finish that and submit it for this film. And we did. And they accepted it, and it ended up being the love ballad over the end of the film, which blew my mind. The film became the centerpiece screening of the Philadelphia Film Festival in that year. And I got to, Jill Clayburgh and Jeffrey Tambor were in the film, and I got to take my mom to the screening, and she got to meet Jill Clayburgh. And my mom was just my biggest supporter my whole life. She believed in me when I didn't, and it was just really, I felt like I finally got to say thank you, because you got me there. Nothing in my life changed after that. I still was broke, still driving a beat up old car. But I stopped acting. I started really writing music again. My father had been a big, he loved all music, but he had been a big country fan. And when I say country, I mean like old country, like Jimmy Rogers and Roger Miller, early Hank Williams and Hank Snow. And he died in '92. And I guess around 2000, I started spending a lot of time in Nashville and hearing the music that was playing there then. And I just accidentally started writing what I guess Americana type things. And I had a release in 2010 called Rain on the Roses that was pretty much an Americana record. Nashville was very cool because people were really nice and very open. You'd go to these open mic nights and they put 5 of you up on the stage together, writers' nights, and the guy next to you might be a line worker from West Virginia who write songs, and this was he always wanted to go to Nashville and go on. The guy next to him could have 12 gold records and just wrote a song, wanted to see how it went over in public. And nobody had an attitude, nobody had ego, and everyone kind of worked together and helped each other like Scott McClatchy does for others. That selfless thing. So I got to do a lot of fun things there, but it's still, I'm a rock guy. I grew up on the Beatles, I grew up on the Monkees, David Bowie, early Bowie, pre-Ziggy, and then Aladdin Sane, and early Queen, the Queen, Sheer Heart Attack. And I wanted to get back to that. And I met a woman from Chester County, Pennsylvania, and we started dating, and a few years later, we got married, and then a couple years after that, I finally left New York and moved down here. And I kind of semi-retired, I'm old, and started getting serious and got in the studio with Roy and Jeff and a longtime friend and co-writer Pat Robinson from Pendel. And Pat's a Grammy winner, and you would never know it. He tells stories of, he tells the story that every day expects to hear of, a knock on the door and see a couple people standing there and say, "Oh, Mr. Robinson, you know that Grammy, there's been a mistake. Like, that wasn't supposed to be yours. We have to take this back." And that vibe is what everyone in the Mark Evans band has. Roy is undoubtedly the most melodic, solid bass player around. Jeff Pankos is he's a beast on the drums and an amazing singer. He's got the Ringo thing that he can sing and play, and the two of them have been playing together since they were teenagers. So, and they're just the nicest guys, and Pat's the nicest guy. And getting to work with them is so much fun. So we set out we started recording, and I knew I wanted an late 60s, early 70s sound. And we started, we got our rhythm tracks and then started working with the cellist and the violinist to create chamber, like a little chamber quartet, and get a lot of that George Martin Medical Mystery Tour vibe out of the strings. And maybe a year and a half we decided we were done recording the record, and then just spent another year mixing it because it just had to be. I got to work on the mix with Don Rodenbach at Shoes Landing Studio in Laurel Springs, and that's where Scott also records, and that's where the Peace Creeps record. And we came out with a record we were really proud of called Carousel, released in August 2018. In August 2019, we released vinyl of it, and then we just started playing live shows because we hadn't done that yet. And now here we are, a year later, and finally the studios are opening again. We cut some rhythm tracks in March, January and February that we were hoping to get done earlier. Now we're close to finishing a single.
On survey of the promised land, your real estate's cheap. Yeah, your looks seduce the world, but you don't get paid. Break your body and soul, body and soul. You can't sacrifice yourself without letting go.
We had done a couple cool things. We did a vinyl release at Chaplin's that was a lot of fun, and we did the Power Pop Overthrow, International Power Pop Overthrow Festival in New York. And then Rob got us booked to open for Denny Lane at City Winery in Philly. And Denny had been the lead singer in the Moody Blues on their hit song Go Now, and then he was with Paul McCartney and Wings for many, many years. And I guess that show gave us enough credibility to make the leap to get to Sellersville. And it was a blast open up. We opened 2 shows for Mickey. They were both sold out. As usual, most of the people there, they were there to see Mickey. They weren't interested in the fact that there was an opening act, but they were so kind. And they listened and they enjoyed, and they made us feel welcome. It was a great day. And they have the best chocolate chip cookies at the Washington House next door to Sellersville Theater. They're like perfect, and then they have powdered sugar on them, and that's my best memory of the day was eating them the whole way home.
A love like yours can't face the light of day. Kisses sweet, so sweet as you betray. Leave there standing hard to find. Do you read me? Read anything from down on your knees? Do you read this transmission? Do you sleep tight in your dark night? It's a long way down the rabbit hole. you so much. Thank you.